Before I knew it, it had just got me. It had grabbed me, it had piqued my interest and grabbed my passion. I think partially goes back to the, almost a primeval feeling. You see all your mistakes and other people don't. And so what is fascinating is that if you feel that you've arrived at a certain point of excellence, that's where you'll stay. You've got to have that initial feeling. You know, when I was teaching in the early days of teaching, I was only 20 years old, and I was teaching many people, and one of the first questions I used to ask them was, how do you feel when you walk into a leather shop? Do you love the smell? Do you touch the leather? Because if you do, right now you're in the right place. And that to me was a good starting point. And I felt at the time that if someone didn't feel that, then they're probably not going to be passionate about doing leather work. So the trick is to always see your mistakes and keep going that way. And that way you will keep improving. I've seen many people stop at a level that they thought they'd arrived at. I've heard this story again and again and again and again. I work on a computer all day, and I just want to feel and touch life. And this is part of it, making something.
Right.
I want to make something, and I want to create. It's in people, but we're kind of losing it if we don't watch it. It's really inspirational having a studio right down by the water's edge. It's beautiful, and you can see the snow-capped mountains from the South Island. But it's highly inspirational to come down here sometimes during the day. I come and just sit here to gain inspiration, to catch a breath, and to just view nature. It's always pretty good. You know, there's always that factor. It doesn't matter how long you're in it. You know, I look at master craftsmen. When I first started, I was talking with a mentor of mine, and he said, you know, the art of a craftsman is to be able to cover up your mistakes. And I didn't know what that meant for a long, long time, because he was so good. I looked at his work and it was perfect. I was still learning, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. But it wasn't until years later I suddenly realized that whenever I made a mistake, and you make mistakes, if I went to try to correct that, work out a way of trying to correct it and literally sometimes cover it up, I found wow factors. So if you find the wow factor through your mistakes, that is when you start to develop your own style, a look and a feel. Something that hasn't been done before often comes out of those mistakes. So that's an excellent way to do it, and just keep going. Keep going. You know, if your passion is there, it'll feed in on itself, and away you go. You know, there's a lot of factors that keep me going. Sometimes I have weak moments. Sometimes I have moments when I think, am I doing the right thing? You know, life is full of change, and there's lots of things to try. For someone who's out there, you've got to strengthen your base. You've got to strengthen that. You've got to have motivators. You've got to actually, sometimes it's a good thing to externalize your motivation, and we're going back to basic motivation now. Put a poster on the wall, write up something of why you're doing this as a reminder. If you externalize it and you read it every day, put it on the ceiling when you wake up in the morning, you read it and you see why you should get out of bed and put your feet on the ground. I think there's a renaissance going on in people wanting to make things. You know, I've come back at the right time to New Zealand to do this thing because people are wanting, and they've lost all the skills. They don't even know how to start. There's always a lot of conflict in life between doing that thing that you love or you want to do as opposed to needing to go out and make money. And I think the way to answer this is through a spiritual concept that the New Zealand Maori people have, and it's called Tūranga Waiwai. Tūranga Waiwai means the place where you put your feet. And so in a broader sense, I have that feeling when I come to my workshop. I really translate that word Tūranga Waiwai as this is the place that gives me my independence, my purpose. This is my identity. This is the place where I put my feet. So often I find, and I discovered this when I started doing this, sometimes I would come down here to my studio workshop and I would have nothing to do, but I would just sit and I would feel a sense of belonging, my purpose, and out of that would spring the work that I needed to do. I say, jump, take the leap, see what happens. Nothing can actually go wrong in the scheme of things. Okay, it may not work, or people may put pressure on you and say that's the wrong thing or this is wrong, and you may have doubts later on. That's part of the human process, so it's no problem. Jump. Life is fully about the learning process, and one base leads to the next base, leads to the next base. So sometimes people take that jump, it doesn't work, and they end up finding the thing that they were supposed to go to, or they might go back to. There's another Maori word, Maori saying, which I love. It's called kia kaha. And kia kaha means simply, be strong. Kia kaha. We should be saying this to ourselves and our friends. Kia kaha. And we surround ourselves with people that are saying this to us. We can be strong and we can feel strong when they are supporting us, and we support them the same way.